Hopefully we should have some audio now. Can you hear me now? Yeah, we go. You can hear me now. So yeah, so try and bring some of the best people in stage hypnosis to you guys so they can talk about their funny bits. There we go. Every week we get this no sound. It's my fault because I mess around too much and I rushed in, even though I should have known the times. So one of the guys who's an absolute a pioneer, a great guy, fantastic hypnotist and magician, author, MC, comedian, we've managed to get on. And I tell you what's great about this guy, because of his comedy, it's his delivery that makes his shows brilliant, and he's a great guy. And also, I believe, a star of a pantomime / play about Brexit, but we're not going to talk about politics. So please hit the like button, give rounds of applause in the comments, but please welcome for your viewing pleasure this evening, the man, the myth, the legend that is Chris Doc Strange. Here he is.
Ta-da! Can you hear me? Can you hear me, mother?
Can you hear me now? Oh, there we go. Brilliant.
There we are. I can see myself. Oh.
Fantastic. So how are things with you?
Amazing. I'm just totally loving the lockdown.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? I'd like to say I went through a moment where I'm enjoying the calmness and the slower pace of life, but the reality is some days I'm like that, and other days I do want to, jump off a small cliff.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I've never felt quite so much about chopping myself ever before. What shall I do today? Blow my brains out. Damn it, I don't have a gun. No, I'm fine. I know a lot of people are struggling, and I feel sorry for those people. I think if you don't have any hobbies, if you've got no particular interests to keep you going, then you're going to struggle. And people are, if all you do is watch television all day and your favorite programs aren't being made anymore because everyone's in lockdown and all you're doing is watching people on screens like this, and this is the highlight of your day. I'm talking about you, Nobby. Then I feel sorry for him. I'm not. He's all right. Good bloke.
He is.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a shame that people don't have things to do, hobbies and interests.
I must admit, I never realized how much I consume things and fill the void inside me by spending. And then all of a sudden this has happened, and it is like, all your big bills and all your big stuff, that's all boxed off, but it's all the little subscriptions, it's all the little extra bits that you go, right, that needs to stop now. So so for those that don't know, everybody knows who you are. Is it 30 years you're a stage hypnotist? 30 years.
30 years. No, not really Ibiza. No, I did a couple of shows in Ibiza, but Ibiza wasn't my domain at all, really. Tenerife was. That was mine. Of course it was, for 94, 95 and 96. I was there. I left because I had a girlfriend and she went back to Wales. And I missed her. And to be honest, I should have stayed because she wasn't worth it.
I think it's
no, don't get me wrong. She was a lovely girl and she's great and everything. But it didn't work out, is what I mean. And it wasn't really worth it. And she would agree as well that I should have stayed where I was. But I think I won't be where I am today.
Yes, I think doing what we do, the traveling, the shows, the highs and lows of all that stuff can have a massive impact on a relationship. And I just kind of say those people that are watching it in the group, the UK Stage Hypnotist group, if you follow the link and come to the Grant Saunders page, then we can see your questions there. We can't see the questions on any cross-posting thing. So if you come over to the Grant Saunders Hypnotist page, I can see your questions up here now.
Come over to the Grant side.
Come over to the dark side. So yeah, I mean, it's your book, the Honest Hypnotist Guide, as if you've got a copy there. Oh, brilliant. There's a little link at the bottom of the screen as well. A great picture, that, by the way.
Taken by Matthew Wright, the famous magician and bon vivant.
Bon vivant, that's not a word you hear every day.
Oh, I say lots of words you don't hear every day. Lots of words you probably wish you'd never heard again. To be honest, I mean, I do talk a lot of old twaddle. I try not to use big words if I can help it, because it's all about communication. And if you are using words that people don't understand, then you're alienating yourself. So keep it simple. Not because people are stupid. They're not. Well, they are. I mean, a lot of people are. Yeah. You know, the majority, the ones that are expected to use common sense right now. And in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a spike. And those same people that are using their common sense, they're the ones. And it's going to go up. Yeah. But if you talk to people in a way they understand and use a simple language, that's a better way of communicating than using long words. Even though I have lots of long words at my disposal, I try not to use them. And there's nothing worse than using the wrong long words either.
Yeah, you do seem to have got. Is that a bookshelf or DVD shelf behind you there? It seems like you've got lots of books and things.
Which way am I going? No, these are all books. So that's just some of them. Hang on a minute. There's more that way as well.
Oh, look at that.
And there's books behind books.
I
like to read.
Yes, I'm a reader. To catch up on my reading whilst this has been going on. So talking about your book, I got it on Kindle when you first released it, I believe. That's the book. And you know what I found really refreshing about that particular book? I mean, I liked it, but not that much. You can tell it's written by a performing stage hypnotist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there's a few books out there, not lots. There's a few books out there on stage hypnosis.
I know you're talking about.
I'll not name names, but they are very clinical. They are very clinical and they're very textbook. But what's missing is the actual shit that happens on the road and how it really is at the kind of at the cold face of stage hypnosis. And your book absolutely addresses that. It is a great book. I'll put up. I mean, I keep putting up the link to it as well. But yeah, great book. Any budding stage hypnotists or any performing stage hypnotists that are out there today, you need to get that book anyway. It's always on my top recommended list.
It's on offer at the moment. During lockdown, I reduced the price. So the book was originally $29.99, and I sold one a month. And then I messed about with the price. I put it down to $19.99, and it sold more. And people were happy to give me 20 quid wherever I went. I always kept some in the boot of the car, and you know, plus when I do a show, sometimes I like to give people a copy as well, a signed copy. Thanks very much for taking part in the show. Here's me 20 quid book. And even if they don't read it, you know, they'll say, see that book, it's worth 20 quid and the hypnotist give it me. And who knows? I mean, the only reason I wrote the book was to put it out there, what I'd learned. And yeah, it's not perfect. And grammatically, I did my best. I actually had the book edited by a fantastic guy called Tom Kohler in Switzerland. Yeah. But I mixed up the versions and I actually printed the one that hadn't been checked by Tom.
Oh, so nice.
So when I had it printed, I printed the shit version. But it's too late now. And when I say shit, I mean, you know, it's got errors in it. But I think that just shows it's written by a human and somebody who knows what they're talking about. And honestly, there's only so many times I can read my own book before I start losing the will to live. You know,
we've got a couple of clips. Oh, you sent me over a couple of clips, and I've watched them earlier. And whenever I'm talking about stage hypnosis to hypnotist or hypnotherapist or anything like that, I always say it's not about the skit. It's about the bit that glues it all together. It's about how, and these two clips are both brilliant examples of your state. I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, but your stagecraft and how you deliver stuff. So I've got two. I'm going to play them, and then we'll play one. Then you can talk about why you like it, and I'll say why I like it, and then we'll play the other.
To be honest, you did say, have you got a couple of clips? I was like, oh, I'll just throw in these two. Yeah, but I will explain my methodology and why I do what I do. Yeah.
The first one we'll put up is the no hand induction or the hands-free induction. Just because I've just got off a conference call earlier to talk about how hypnotists now have to change how we work for COVID-19, and it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. So I'm going to put up the clip, and then I'll let you kind of talk to it. So yeah,
go for it.
Bring something out.
think of a shape, look at the lines in your hand, and maybe you'll see a triangle or a square. Try to find something like that, and tell me which one sticks out the most.
The straight lines.
The straight lines, just concentrate on the straight lines then. Because what's going to happen as you're staring at these straight lines, your hand wants to touch your forehead. Your hand wants to touch your forehead. It wants to clamp itself to your forehead more than anything. And the harder you try to stop it, the more your hand is going to try and touch your forehead. It's going to get there eventually. And the harder you try to stop it, the more it's going to do it. When your hand reaches your forehead, it's going to clamp to your face. Your eyes will close, your head will fall forward, and you'll go straight to sleep. 1, 2, 3. Down, down, deeper, good feeling, good sensation on the belly. Whilst your eyes are closed, I want you to glue them together, completely glued together, and the harder you try to open them, the more they're going to glue shut, but that's fine because you're going to relax. Now, when you feel completely relaxed, when your eyes won't open and you feel completely wonderful, you're going to relax from the top of your head, down your shoulders, down your back, all the way down. Just let yourself completely relax like an old rag doll. You're not going to fall off your chair, but completely relaxed. Your hand will fall away, and as your hand falls away and hits your lap, you'll go 10 times deeper, down and down, deeper, deeper, good feeling, good sensation. Can you give these guys a big round of applause, please? Down and down. Now, let me just show you, if I lift his hand, his arm's completely loose and limp, like an old rag doll, and it'll drop down, and as it drops down, he'll sleep 10 times deeper. In fact, he'll get so floppy, he'll just go straight to the floor.
It's a shame. It's okay, so I'm glad you like that. It's not the clip I wanted. There's a clip that shows the other guys going as well.
That's the one you sent me.
Yeah, I know, it's my fault. Well, it was half an hour ago, and he went, "Oh, I mean, they're clips," and I just looked, and yeah, I mean, this is a good one here that I've got playing on the telly.
Yes,
the big fella, but yeah, the thing is. With that, I mean, that's an army gig, and that's it's a while ago. It's probably 6 years ago, maybe more, and it was a very, very noisy environment. I mean, the thing is, people don't realize, they think that we're going to do a show and everyone's going to be sat nice and they're all waiting to be entertained. And, and it's like, oh, excellent. The hypnotist is here. Hurrah. Let's all join in, and it's not, it's us going, will you lot fucking shut up, please?
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon for the language, but, we're like, come on. I'm booked to do a show. So me being a short ass little fella, I only realized, last couple of years that I'm actually quite short. I always wondered why I was looking up people's noses, but I have this habit of I go into a room and everybody has to pay attention to me. If it's my job to go in there and entertain them, then as soon as I go in there, I take control. I have to, right? Because any sign of weakness, they're going to have you, right? So when you turn up to a booking and they're all going like that, first thing I'll do is, right, we're going to start the show in 10 minutes. I'm sorting out my shit. Once I start, you shut the fuck up, right? And they're like, oh, and that's the army. You don't do that when there's little old ladies and, and it's just, you have to work to your audience. And if you've got a load of soldiers and they're all effing and blinding, they're all getting pissed and there's all this sort of thing, you can't go in and go, right, gentlemen, what we're going to do is a show in a bit, and if it's okay with you, do you think you could all just sit down nice and be quiet? And they're all going to be going, fuck off. So I walk in, I find the biggest guy. I don't care who he is. I always go for the biggest guy. And I'll say, I'm going to do a show in a minute. You're going to join in. Can you tell all your friends to be quiet, please? And I'll get started. Otherwise, you're the first under. And I'll have you dancing around like a fucking ballerina, right? Or whatever. I mean, so he'll get a laugh. It'll get a laugh out of that anyway, because it's like this little midget is coming up to this giant, right, and telling him to shut the fuck up and do as he's told, and then he's like, "All right, then, well, we better do this." And the other thing is, the army, they're used to being told what to do. So you tell them what to do. That's what they're used to. It's different when you're doing a gig for the general public. I nearly said something horrible then because I do that. when you're doing something for the general, the great unwashed, I like to call them.
Yeah.
When you're doing something for people who are in their own pub, or and I don't do pub gigs. I haven't done public gigs for a long time, but I did one recently. I'm not going to say where it was or who it was for, but I was standing in for somebody, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I got there, and it was just everything that could be wrong about the gig and how I wanted it.
Yeah.
It was there, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, crying out loud!" But I nailed it. But it was so not what I wanted. It was everything about it, and I just thought, this is like when I first started being in the trenches, because you get thrown out there to do. You tell people what you want, right?
You can do. There's a lot of talk online about, this is how you learn your trade and this, that, and other, and that's an easy job and anyone can do that. But you know what? The more you do and the longer you go into it, sometimes you kind of go, do you know what? Yeah, I can do difficult gigs. I can do that type of gig, but I don't want to do that type of gig. So, I mean, you want a nicer gig. I know I did something in Munster in Germany for the army. And literally before going on stage, the person that booked me has gone, they like to give the comedy act 10 minutes maximum before they get you to walk off stage by heckling you. And I'm like, oh, thank you for that. But yeah, so they can be challenging gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you get that kind of information, you just go out there and you say, look, I've already been paid, so you can make as much noise as you like, but I'm fucking off home in a minute and I've got the money in my pocket. Or we can have a laugh. You can let me show you what I do. You can all join in. We can all have a laugh and you get your money's worth. It's up to you. You can be a bunch of pricks or not.
And that's it. It's getting them on side. Your presence is, I think a lot of guys struggle when they do what we do because they have this set routine in their mind that they've got to act this certain way, and they use that same format for every show. And you can't. If you've got a rough and ready show and the audience is a certain way, you've got to adapt and change for that.
Okay, I've said this. I said it in my book. I've said, if you're gonna do something, just like J. Louise said, brilliant hypnotist, the guy that I watched when I was working in Spain, and I was like, I could do this, and he said, yeah, of course you could. And I said, I haven't got an act, and he said, well, use mine, just don't use it round here. And I was like, wow, okay. And this is a guy that did a hypnotist show in 5 languages. Wow. It was a bit verbose, to be honest. It dragged on a bit, but but the show was good, It's like one of these, you do a show like what is it, Euro, and they're singing, they're trying to entertain all these different people from different countries, and it's good evening, ladies and gentlemen, good Auburn, and by the time they've finished saying hello to you, you're half asleep anyway. So I thought, right, what I need to do is make a show that's quick and punchy and just gets on with it. And I saw so many hypnotists, and I hated watching hypnotists. I'd go and see a hypnotist, and honestly, I'd be there for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, Christ, this guy's shit, because they'd just go on and on and on and on. I go, when are you going to do the show?
It's funny when you see someone and they're talking to a subject, a volunteer, and you can see the volunteer's already gone. They're already in that space.
Yeah, but they're still going.
They're still going and still talking because that's his format, that's his routine. And it's like, this guy's already hypnotized. Just put him out. So,
yeah. So I seeing that, what I was going to say is, in the book, I've said that I do basic. No, I don't do the same act, but to me, it is the same. To me, it's the same act that I've been doing for 30 years, right? Yeah. And what I've found is that if you start trying to throw in new stuff all the time, right? Yeah. So I don't know how I got such an itchy nose. I think I need to trim some nasal hairs. I got to the point where they're like this, I didn't trim them. I do a show, whereas I know what I need to do and I know how to do it. But the main thing is watching the volunteers and seeing how they're reacting to you and going with that, rather than sticking to a script, because scripts don't work. Script, no. If you want to learn a script, fine, but then don't use it. Yeah, get an idea of what you're supposed to say, but then be willing to just drift, because I've always been ad lib. But I do have an end result, and the end result is to get them under. Well, first of all, get them compliant, get them doing things that I ask them to do, reasonable requests. So stuff that I want them to do and they're not even hypnotized yet. And then they start to question if they're hypnotized or not because I'm doing this, but did I have to do it? Could I stop if I want to? I don't really know. But if I don't do it, is he going to send me down? So I better stay. I'll keep doing what he said I should do. But then am I hypnotized or am I not? I don't really know. And they've got all this internal dialogue going on. And you say sleep and they're like, oh, shit. Oh, what happened then? You know, so I absolutely love it. But I tried to do all different things. I'd write all these different scripts, and I see hypnotists do it all the time. They say, "Oh yes, I've written a new show, and you know, I'm looking for fuck off." No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You're doing the same old shit. You've changed the name.
Exactly.
You know?
And you know what it is? I think there's a lot of emphasis online and in the groups about being original. And I don't know, everyone should be original in their own way, but it's about you shouldn't substitute funny and a good polished show just to be original, because most of the audiences, you know, they've maybe seen 1-2 hypnotists in their entire life. They want to see a good polished show. One of the things, and again, it demonstrates it in this next clip that we've got. I always kind of say, again, it's not the skit. The good thing about like a polished performance is you know that routine inside and out. So you can focus your attention on the little bits and the glue that holds it together and how you kind of control that.
And they do build. I mean, you do the same script and somebody does something that you didn't expect and you go, oh, remember that next time because that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so you can encourage that. But, you know, like the clip that you're going to show now, the line, listen out for the line, show the police what you think of them.
Yeah.
Always. And when because everybody's watching it and they know I've not told them to do that.
Yeah.
But when they all do it together and they all do the same thing of the same like hive mind, people are like, oh my God, this is brilliant. You know?
Yeah. I think audiences love to see what they think is the first time that's happened. It's spontaneous. That's where the originality comes from. So well, I'm going to play this clip now, and then we can chat about it in a second.
Yeah. Oh, different clip. You've done it again. Different clip. Go on.
Mind. Open your mind. Open your mind.
After you. What's the matter, mate? What's the matter?
His feet are too big.
His feet are too big. If they were any smaller, he'd fall over.
Well, he's standing on me knob, man.
Do it over there, do it over there, do it over there. Surely he's not going to do it now. Do you like that song?
No.
But you felt like you wanted to dance to it, am I right?
Yes.
Is there any reason why you decided to... Oh, you're not going to fall over? Fucking hell, he's heavy. Lie down flat, get in your own bed, just relax. Get relaxed in your own bed, nice and comfortable. Nice and... Is your lead on it?
Is what?
Is your lead on it?
No, it's clear.
It's clear, it's just the one side that's lucky because you've never lived that, can't I tell you? Sorry. I forget I've got a microphone. You didn't hear that, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, so, you didn't see my reaction. I was laughing through that, but every time I hear myself, I'm like, "Oh God!"
Oh, I must. Yeah, well, we're Northerners. Do you know what I mean? Whenever we hear, it's like, "Where are you from originally?" Blackburn.
Blackburn, where the pigeons fly upside down because it's fuck all worth shitting on.
Blackburn, yeah. I've done a couple of gigs in Blackburn, so we'll leave that there.
That's because I don't live there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's closer to me than you. Again, another great skit. And again, it's the audience's reaction, not necessarily to what's happening, but how you're responding to what's happening and the interaction, the bits in the middle that is what, because they go, that shouldn't have happened. That's spontaneous. That's now, and the audience loves it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I know exactly what I'm saying. I know exactly what I'm doing, but I like to play that. I'm so sorry, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I use that to great effect with the kids stuff now. You know, not swearing obviously, but you know, some of the stuff that I come out with, I like to be, unless they're right little bastards. Then, but
how did you find the transition from Chris Doc Strange, the stage hypnotist, into your magic shows that you're doing at the moment?
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy, but so my daughters were 7 and 8. Funny names. I know they were. I have to do it. I just have to. my family like, just shut up. Everything you say isn't funny. We've heard it a million times.
Yep.
And then I do stuff and people are laughing and people go, oh, he must make you laugh at home. And they're like, no, he doesn't. No, he really doesn't. He's not, you know. So, but anyway, my daughters were 7 and 8, and it was their idea that I did parties for them. It was a credit crunch. I was running a business called glowgadgets.com Limited. It was doing really well. And then the credit crunch happened. Yeah. A lot of my suppliers just not only went out of business, or couldn't get the stock that they needed, or my credit, nobody was offering credit anymore. Yeah. And so I had a lot of money tied up in stock and I couldn't get stuff, and it was just shit. It was terrible. And I had a lot of competition and I was doing long hours. I mean, I was losing my mind. And my daughter said, why don't you do children's birthday parties? And I was like, yeah, me, you know what I do. You've seen my videos, right? And they were like, yeah, you're funny, just don't swear. And so I did their parties, I did the French parties, and I just realized I loved it. I loved making kids laugh. But it did take me a while to learn that I was entertaining the kids, not the adults. The adults were being entertained by default.
Yeah. So
what I was doing is I'd fall into the trap of making the parents laugh and I'd forget about the kids. And sometimes I'd say, double entendres or whatever. And then I felt dirty afterwards, like I'd done something really bad, especially when somebody come up to me and said, how dare you talk like that in front of a lot of kids? But I'd always explain to people, look, I didn't mean to say that. I've spent my whole life entertaining adults. I am pretty new to the kids stuff. And I apologize. I didn't mean, but some people don't take it. And anyway, I didn't make too many mistakes, but I did make them. And I think it took me honestly, about 2 or 3 years, really. I mean, I now, when I do kids stuff, it's pure. I mean, the laughter from kids, it's like, you've got battery charge. You want to charge your phone, right? And it might take 4 hours to charge your phone, right? When kids are laughing, to me, it's like they've charged me up in 30 minutes. It's like just hearing that laughter, I'm charged for the day, for the weekend. I mean, I'll be buzzing days after because I'm just thinking them little people just absolute. And when I say pissing themselves, I do mean literally pissing themselves. I had one little boy laugh so much he puked in front of me. He had puke come out of his nostrils, out of his. I actually thought it came out of his ears as well. It was like, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "I'm just laughing so much." He didn't even. He was covered in puke. It was a big. We were outside. We were in a garden. We were in a posh garden in London. Nice. Not that that's relevant, but and I was like, "This is what it's all about." Making kids, because that kid's going to remember that for the rest of his life. Absolutely. And it's going to be the most important thing. He knows now what makes him laugh. Yeah. And there's adults who don't know what makes them laugh. There's some miserable fuckers out there that really could do with a good laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. I must admit, I suppose working with the squaddies and how drunk that they used to get, it puts you in good stead working with little kids that are going to be sick. But I suppose like children, they're so honest as an audience, because if they don't like you, there's no social pressure for them. If they don't like you, they'll just not watch and walk off.
They'll tell you straight away.
exactly. So yeah, it's yeah.
If you're rubbish and you've got one kid going, "You're rubbish, rubbish, rubbish," they're all shouting, "Rubbish, rubbish." Fuck off, the lot of you. I'm going.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And so it's actually it's more work to understand what the kids are laughing at, or what they're not laughing at, or feeling. I was going to say feeling the kids. That's not what I mean. Feeling the atmosphere and knowing exactly how to work them, because if they don't like you, they'll show it, and kids don't get up unless they're a little bit special, and you do have kids that are a bit special, and if the parents tell you, little Johnny's, he's ADHD, or he's got this or that, and it's right, well, I'll pay him a bit more attention, and then he doesn't get up and wander off, because I've seen it where you've got one little kid who's a little, they're away with the fairies, and they're running around, and the parents, like, they're so used to it, bless them. I mean, they've got a handful, that they're just having a 10 minutes of peace where little Johnny's being entertained, and he can ruin it. So if I know, I will spend time to entertain that kid and make him the star of the show, make him feel I've seen kids that have never communicated properly, or been on stage, and they've helped me, and they've been so funny and so helpful and so brilliant, and the parents have come up to me in tears, and they're like, "Oh my God, I've never seen him like that. He doesn't talk to anybody, doesn't trust anybody," and so that's far more rewarding to me than entertaining a load of drunks and driving home at 3 o'clock in the morning. I love entertaining kids. I wish I'd done it sooner. Yes, I do swear, not when I'm entertaining kids. People go, "Well, how do you not swear?" Because there's a load of kids in front of me. What am I going to start doing?
You say you're a decent human being.
Now.
Yeah, of course.
We've just got a couple of Welsh fuckers watching this. Just seeing who's on there now. Both old as well.
So, as well as your book, is there one other hypnosis related book you would recommend to people that's not yours, as well as yours, as a secondary?
Yeah, well, I always recommend Orman McGill's, the Encyclopedia of Stage Hypnosis, and only because that was recommended to me, and I've been doing this. I've been doing shows for 3 years before it was recommended to me, and I can't remember who it was. Hypnotist, when I was in Ibiza, and he said, "Have you read this book?" And I said, "No, I haven't." He said, "It's very good." And when I got the book, as soon as I got home, I went to WH Smith's, and they ordered it for me. And it took about 3 weeks to arrive, and I just absorbed this book. But basically, I was going through it, going, "Yeah, I know that, do that. Oh, that's interesting. No, that. Oh, I wouldn't do that." And it didn't make me change what I do. One thing that I did, I was never a fan of these. I was never a fan of street hypnotists. When people started doing all this street hypnosis, I really wanted to just grab them by the throat and go, "Can you do this indoors on a stage, please? You fucking idiot! Why are you doing it in the street or in a pub? You stop showing off." And that was when I started writing the book. That was my mentality. I really wanted to stick it to them. And I'm going to give him a mention. So Anthony Jacquin, he was doing the head hacking and all that, and I'd written the book, but it was in PDF form, and I seen him at the Ruskin when we were at the Magic Convention.
Yeah,
I was pissed, because I do like to drink. I'm trying not to drink. That's fucking hammered. And I seen him.
You were drunk in the Ruskin, unheard of.
And I was like, "Oi, Jacquin." Oi, Jacquin. And I had my business card, and I was going to say to him, this is what was in my head. I was going to say to him, "Oi, you want to learn hypnosis? Have a look at my book, right? It'll teach you something." I was just being a dick. I was drunk, right? Anyway, so I'm walking. I was staggering over to him, and he turned around before I said anything, and he went like this. He went, "Oh, Doc Strange, come here and give me a hug." And I was like, "Okay." And he gave me this big hug, and I was like, "Oh, I feel so warm and safe." And he was like, "Oh, you're awesome," blah blah blah. And he's really kind. And I was like, fucking hell, he is a good hypnotist, isn't he, this fella, right? and he's going, you were the guy. He said, I've watched all your videos. He said, everything you do on YouTube. He said, you're fantastic. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. He went, you're the best fucking hypnotist. I'm going, fuck off. He said, no, you. He said, you're the only hypnotist that does a character on stage. He said, we've tried doing, I'm not going to mention who. He said, I've been working with such a body, and he's tried to do hypnosis as a character. He said, and he can't do it. It just doesn't work. He said, you go on there in your doctor's coat and you look like a dick and you put people on. And he said, everybody else is like swinging pocket watch and pointy beard and purple suit, looking like a twat. And
and describing my act there.
And he's there going, there's you in your flip-flops and your bloody shorts. And I said, well, I had a dream. That's what I was going to do. I mean, I used to go out as Michael Moon, the singing hypnotist. And I didn't like people calling me Mike. All right, Mike. It's not Mike, it's Chris. And then, but Doc Strange was my CB handle. And somebody said, why don't you use Doc Strange? And so the character was built when I was in Tenerife in about 94. So I left Tenerife in 93 to come back to England. I was like, why have I come back here? And so I went back to Tenerife about 3 months afterwards, 4 months. And I went back as Doc Strange, and I was Doc Strange, the hairy hypnotist. And it's because I had this dream about me being back in Tenerife, working in ripped jeans and, the doctor's coat. And that's what I did. And I, instead of the whole, trying to be self-important and looking, I wanted to get rid of all that and say, look, you don't have to be a genius to be a hypnotist. You just got to look after people, show them how it works, show them how to hypnotize themselves, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, right? And don't tell anybody, secret. And then once you've done that, just say, I'm just a regular guy. I'm a regular guy. I like making people laugh, but you can do this. Anybody can learn this. It's a useful tool. And like myself, I'm a bit of a tool. So, I thought it was a really good way to work. And so that's what I did. What was my point? I can't remember. Oh yeah. So anyway, I liked Anthony Jacquin after that. I was like, actually, he's pretty fucking cool. And people are always saying, personally, I'm not going to mention, there was one particular video I did where he kept hypnotizing the same guy over and over again. And that was the guy that was interviewing. And I was like, this is weird. But it's where I got the handshake induction from. I'd never done that before. And I saw him doing that. So the first video where you seen the guy doing that, I got that from him because I thought, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Because what I do is I say to people now, look at your hand, see the shapes in your hand. By the way, your hand wants to touch your forehead, and the harder you try to stop it, it's going to touch your forehead. And once it's stuck to your forehead, you'll fall asleep, right? And then I go off and I do whatever, and people are watching this guy going like that. Sorry, I nearly had myself then. And I'm rambling. Go on, you talk.
No, it's you're absolutely spot on. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest fan of street hypnosis because I think stage hypnosis, performance hypnosis needs to be done on a stage. And I think it's easier to do it on a street level because if it doesn't work, you can go to the next person or the next person or the next person. But I don't think it does it. I think it can devalue what we do. But it's been
there's a lot of people doing pseudo hypnosis, and I'm not a fan of that.
No,
because you're conning people into hypnosis.
And then if anyone knows what they're doing is not real in that sense, again, it undervalues or devalues the real hypnosis stuff. People go, yeah, but that's just that. It's not hypnosis. It's this, and it devalues what we actually do.
Magicians do that a lot. They devalue in the hypnosis.
Yeah, there's a lot of magicians
trick.
learning hypnosis now.
Sorry?
There's a lot of magicians learning hypnosis now. They've already got the patter from the tricks, and they're quite good as in the sense of they've got the outs and stuff like that. I love magic. I can't perform magic. If I had tricks on me, they'd fall out my pocket and I'd look like an idiot. I look like an idiot anyway most of the times. So magic's not for me.
I think it's in the book, the one about the millionaires. Yeah, I think that's in the book where I nothing worked at all, and they were all there smoking the fat cigars.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you know, this should have worked. And there was a magician there at the time, and he said, why don't you have a plan B? And I was like, well, I've never needed a plan B before. And so for a while, I started taking magic out with me. And I thought, well, if it doesn't work, and I thought, no, that's the wrong mentality. If it doesn't work, I'll do something else. No, fuck that. No, it's going to work. It will work. Right. All I have to do is get the right people up. And when I say get the right people, anyone who's sober, anyone who isn't mental or pregnant or have any breathing difficulties or on drugs or whatever, and you get that out of the way, and you say, look, if you're reasonably healthy and you're sober and you want to do this, come up and give it a go. But it's not a challenge. It's not like, you know, if you get up and you don't want to be hypnotized, you probably won't get hypnotized, you know. But if you do get hypnotized, you're going to be really disappointed in yourself. And so it's not a challenge. But if you do want to do it, then I'll show you how to get hypnotized. And I try not to say, I used to, for a while, I tried, you know, telling people that all hypnosis was self-hypnosis at the beginning and no one get hypnotized. And I was like, why is this not working? So you've got to seem to have the power or gravitas or whatever or something, and then you can tell them afterwards, you know, actually you did that yourself. I'm just your guide. I'm your guide. And you know,
I think it's one of the most important things, and it took me a while to learn it. It's that prestige, it's that expectation and belief does all the work for you. So right, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to finally get to chat to you kind of face to face and such.
I don't think they realize this is the first time we've spoken ever.
It is the first time. It's the first time. Well, yeah, absolutely. We've exchanged on Facebook every now and then.
Yeah, well,
how's the running going?
How's the what?
How's the running going?
Terrible. I've not been running for 3 weeks, I think, because my knees. I'm struggling. So I did a 5 mile run. I loved it, but the problem is I didn't mean to do 5 miles. I meant to do 3, and I took a wrong turn. And it wasn't until I'd got probably halfway. I'd run about 2.5 miles. No, wait a minute. I'd run about 2 miles, and I thought I've got another mile and a bit, and I'll be home. And I got to that 3 miles, and I should have been home by now.
Yeah.
And I realised that if I went back the other way, if I went back the way I came, I'd end up doing 6 miles.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll keep going and see how far it is. And I ended up doing 5.5 miles, and I felt great. But the next day, my knees, and the thing is, in a book, I think I buggered my right knee up when I was in in Australia, showing off to a couple of birds that were going to bang me. They said, and again, I was drunk because I think I'm alcoholic. And I did my knee, and so I never thought I'd be able to run, but I did the Couch to 5K. Fantastic. And overdid it July last year. So it took me 3 or 4 months to get better, both knees. But this time it was just my right knee. And I went out running about a week and a half ago, and I think I did about 1.5 miles. And I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And again, it didn't hurt as much, but it's like, I don't know where to put my leg. I don't know. I can't put it up. I can't put it down. I can't walk around in it. It just hurts, you know. But now it feels okay. And so now, I mean, I'm like, I should be going out running. The only problem is I've been getting pissed every single night since lockdown, right? And I've put on, I mean, look at the state of me. You know, you don't want to see I'm fat. I couldn't wear any
running gear.
anything. I couldn't put anything on now because none of it'll fit. Which is really embarrassing. So yeah, I've got to. So the answer is I'm getting back into it.
Brilliant. Right, we've got to finish now. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been great to have you on. Great energy. You say you got a special offer on the book. I've got a link up for the book now. How long's that special offer on for?
Until this weekend. So during lockdown, the book was $19.99, and I put it down to $7.99. And the Kindle book was $9.99, and I put it down to $1.99.
Wow.
Because I just wanted people to read it. But you know, it hasn't sold more because it's lower, so I might as well put it back up to where it was.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely. Right. Well, Chris, Absolutely pleasure to have you on. Great to see you, and we maybe have a coffee or a face to face once all this is done. Yeah,
definitely. But I'm not coming within 2 meters of you.
No. All right, Chris. Absolute pleasure. I'll see you later.
Live long and